Jeremy Sochan to the San Antonio Spurs with the 9th overall selection. The kid out of Baylor was the 6th man of the year in the Big 12, 9 points per game, 6 rebounds per game. You're like, man, those stats aren't that impressive. Well, he increased his stock in the Big 12 tournament and the NCAA tournament, averaged 14 points, 8 rebounds in 4 games. And look, this is a guy that ranked 8th in the Big 12 in rebounds per game last season, despite coming off the bench in all but 1 game. He's a guy that can defend every position on the floor. And when you look at a game where it's positionless basketball, this is a guy that you want, a rotation guy. That's what the Spurs got. And at this point, who are we to be second-guessing the Spurs? Well, that's kind of our job, so that's what we're going to do. And how about a guy that played for the Spurs and helped them win a national NBA championship in 1999, named Avery Johnson? Avery, what do you think of this pick? Jeremy Sochan, 9th overall, top 10 pick, going to San Antonio, their first of 3 first-round picks on this night.
Hakeem, my jersey's retired.
It is.
Number 6 is in the rafters. But again, you can't really underestimate the deep research in the scouting department from the Spurs. I'm a little bit surprised. I've watched this kid play 10 times. You know, he plays in Waco, 80 miles from where I live in the Dallas area. But again, I think this is a situation where this kid spends a lot of his first year or 2 in the G League. I think this is a pick where they're projecting him in 3 years. This is not a kid that comes in, he's averaged 9 points a game. He's not going to come in from day one and be a rotation player. So I think this is a situation where they think this is a player that they can develop. You got to remember, this is the same organization that drafted Tony Parker at the end of the first round, drafted Manu Ginobili in the 2nd round. They picked up Avery Johnson off the street for a cup of coffee. So they know what they're doing. DeJounte Murray, who's developed into an all-star caliber player. So again, you guys probably have this pick rated a little bit higher than me.
I admittedly like the pick. I had Sochan going 9 to San Antonio in my mock. I think it is a very Spursy kind of pick, a international prospect who really understands how to play, who's a high-level thinker of the game, who can really pass the ball. And you said it, he is as versatile of a defensive prospect as there is in this draft. I mean, he can guard every position on the floor. He's also got an infectious energy about him. The NBA Combine, he was the one who, everybody was raving about in terms of his interviews. Now, again, not unlike Dyson Daniels, who also stands out in the defensive end, he's got to shoot the ball better. But in San Antonio in particular, I'm buying their player development program and ability to develop him into at least a serviceable spot-up shooter, because I think he's a really high-level facilitator in the front court.
I can't go A+ with a grade because it runs counter to what my big board looked like, but I won't go any lower than A- because this is the San Antonio Spurs. Like, if the Kings don't deserve the benefit of the doubt, San Antonio clearly does. And Adam made the point earlier that, switchable athletic wings who can shoot have never been more valuable in the NBA than they are right now. The other thing that's really valuable in the NBA is versatile front court players. And Jeremy Sochan is probably the most versatile front court player in this draft. He can guard 4s. I think in certain situations he can guard 5s, and then he can also guard smaller players. The shot is the swing skill, as they say. That's got to be better. I think it probably will. And either way, I just trust that he'll become something close, if not the best version of himself, because he's in an organization that tends to get the best out of their prospects.
And last year, the Spurs, drafted the youngest player in the draft, Josh Primo, who is an offensive player. And now you draft a little bit more of a versatile guy that's a hustle guy. Coach Popovich, trust me, if you're a hustle guy and you're a hard-nosed guy and you get those 50-50 balls and loose balls, which, Jeremy Sochan does that, then maybe he gets a little bit more playing time sooner rather than later. So, again, I agree with Gary, Adam. This is the Spurs. When you talk about the Spurs, the Heat, Miami, Golden State, Boston, those teams in their front offices have demonstrated consistently that they know what they're doing in terms of drafting players.
They know what they're doing. You said it right. The Spurs always get it right, or at least they seem to, and they go with Jeremy Sochan, 9th overall out of Baylor.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.